Hello guys. In this video, we will be discussing about the small application which was built in Java, and we have used Thymeleaf for the rendering of data, and database MySql, and JPA Java Persistent API for repository creation, and we have used admin template which is free is available, and we have created some REST APIs for rendering some dashboard areas, and implemented Spring Security for login and logout and registration. And this is example is free, and you can download anytime. Okay, let's start with the topic. So we have a list of the topic: Spring Boot, Spring Boot Security, JPA, MySql, Thymeleaf, admin template, and we have created two CRUDs: product type and product. And product is association with the product type, login, logout, and finally the registration. Okay, let's take a look at the example first. Once we run this application, the layout look like to be this. Okay, so here you can find the username and password, email and password, right? So if you are a new user, then definitely you would be create an account for that. So you can click on register. Okay, so register, for example. Okay, and then click register. Once you register, you can see the message: you have successfully registered to our awesome app, right? If you use the same username, the email is the username, right? Then it will be showing you the error properly, right? So already member sign in, then go to the already member sign in, and then use the username and password, and then click. Okay, once you click on, you can see that we have redirected to the admin page, and we can see the logo, and the button, collapsible button, the logged in user detail with their details, and the left navigation we have an option for the product type, and then logout, and here you can also have sign out. Okay, on dashboard we can see some widgets. Okay, there's a four widgets, and then we have charts, and everything is displayed on dashboard is coming from database. uh, it's coming from server side, right? So we have rendered this page through the REST API, while the other pages are in different way, right? So once you click on product, so you can see there is a product list. Okay, you can see that there is a paging. Okay, and then you have the table with the searching, right? For example, test product, so you can see the result will be populated, pu.js, right? So it will be search based on whatever the values in table, right? So we have added, we have delete button, and we have add new button. Okay, so let's take a look at that. For example, if we create add, so it will be this page is add page. So once you click on save, so it will be validating the values from server side. So we used validations as well in application. So once you select on for example, product type, product name. Okay, sorry. and then press save. Once you click on save, it will be redirect to a product list page, and then success message is displayed. So this is how you can be able to add. So there are 14 records. You can see this record has been added. So you can be able to make the changes accordingly. Okay, and then save. Okay, and then go to the, you can see the changes has been updated. So this is a product and this is a product type. Similarly, same functionality is also working on this page. So you can be able to cancel at any time, and then you can redirect to the particular page. So this is the application. Let's take a look at that, the what we have done in the coding side. So this is our project. Okay, so we have a Java folder, right, and we have resources folder, and then we have pom.xml. First we take a look at that, the pom.xml file. We use pom.xml file. The dependencies are, we use the JPA for the data communications, right? And we use the Spring Security. We use the Spring Security extra some features, and we use the Thymeleaf for displaying the data. And we have used Thymeleaf dialect because this is a layout. We actually use the layout architecture, so you need to include this dependency. Okay, and then we used starter web, and then we used DevTools, and we use MySql connector, and we use Spring Boot validation. So as you can see, the validation is working. So this is how you can do that. So, and then we have of course the test, and the unit vintage and security. So this is our pom.xml file, and then we have some code architecture. For example, the config file, controller. The config file, we actually use some for Spring Security. We have created our custom web security configurator file, and then we have our write web security extend from web security configure, and we use the user service, we use the password encryption, and we use authentication provider, and then we use the authentication provider settings. So in the configure method, HTTP security, we allow register pages, and we have used some CSS and HTMLs, and then we allow, because in the resources folder we have static folder, and then we have some other folders. So we have to allow bootstrap, distribution, extra plugins, and so we have allowed this, and we have allowed register, because once you click on register, so it also need to allow. All login already allowed, because login. And then we have any request authenticated, other than request it will be authenticated. The form login, the login page, the default success URL after the login, where it need to go to. So the default success URL slash permit all, and then logout, and invalid HTTP session, and then clear, and then logout authentication, and then successful logout. This. So this is the setting for the login and logout and security setting. So you must need to be extend your class with the web security configurator, so you can be able to play around with this, right? And we used custom security, the user service. So we use the user services class, and then we can set on detailed servers. Okay, and the template folder in the resources, we have some templates. The layout template, which is very important, and then we have some admin template, where the dashboard product templates. We have some fragment of the template, the header, as you can see in the left hand side, top hand side, and the bottom of the side, and everything is controlled through this. So uh, let's take a look at that the layout page. This is the first layout page. Okay, so we have everything that need to be displayed accordingly, displayed here, right? So this is our layout page. And in the layout page, we have some section, the header section. So in the header section, we use th.replace. It's mean you have to replace whatever in the header fragment folder and the header file, replace here. So it's a piece of the code that is in the header. So you have logo, everything is top navigations, and username and principal authentication and member since and logout. So as you can see, in the top section, it is a header section. So we have added this section into the header file. And then main sidebar is the left navigation side, right? So we have added this left navigation and everything, the product list and product type. And so in the future, if you can add more links, so you can be able to add in this file. And then we have a control sidebar. So actually we are not using this file. It will be displayed right side. So we have disabled this file. So you can add this file accordingly. So in the layout section, we have seen the header section and then main sidebar, and then we have a content section, right? So in the content section, we have uh, we have used a layout fragment is equal to content. So it's mean whatever the page you have designed, so you can create the fragment named content, then it will be displayed accordingly over there. So uh, it will glue this content to the particular page, and then same for the header and same for the other pages. And you can see we have used some other uh, JavaScript files that need to be included for all pages, right? So in the layout section, definitely we have used some other section, which is the script section, because every page has its own scripts. And sometime we need some to display some special kinds of JavaScript code, so we can be able to add our JS files into the system. So we actually has created this section. So in the dashboard, um, for example, if you go to the dashboard section, so in the dashboard we actually use this file. So uh, this file is especially for the dashboard. So we used the h block layout fragment and then scripts. So this will be incorporated in main file. So this is how you can do that. If you don't have any script file, so you can create this block without adding anything else, so it will be work, right? So the layout page is quite simple, and then we have incorporated these pages. And in the dashboard, so you can see that uh, if this is the front page, right? So we actually use the layout decorator is equal to layout. So it's mean it will be use the layout.html file, and display the title of your page, whatever the title of your page. And we have a header section, so you can be able to display the header over there. And this is a page for the header. So you can see in the dashboard page, we have dashboard control panel. So this is the dashboard a control panel, and then we have a breadcrumbs, right? So you can see the breadcrumbs onto the right hand side. And then we have blocks area, and then we have content area. The content area actually the area where you actually need to write your own code functionality. So in the content area, we have seen the products, more information, and the product will be displayed, the product type, and everything is there. So you can see the products and product types, and these all type of the widgets are being displayed. So as you can see, we have assigned some IDs, the count product, right? The count product type, and count user, and count visitors. So we actually has rendered this page through the REST API. So we have because we actually need to be displayed some graphs, different line chart. Okay, so we actually has created a file and the distribution folder. This is file for the dashboard. So this file is basically a file which has to be displayed the data accordingly. So we have created some functions: Morris chart, Morris area, right, and Morris line. This is another function, and this is Morris donut, right? So, and we have get dashboard statistics. So we once we call the get dashboard statistics inside the document dot ready, this method will be called to this API, and then result will be displayed, will be available in data, and then we have the data is available. So in this API, so once you click on this API, so you can see that. Okay, let's me open. Okay, so once you can see that we have created this API, and this is a donor chart, this is area chart, line chart, and we have some variables. So these are the values are coming from server side, and you can see that we have the array of y element, and item element, and same for this is array. Okay, so you can see 9 or 10 records over there, and then we have an area. So you can see that by item 1 and item 2, and same for the donut, the label and the value. So these are value required for the chart, and these all are coming from the REST API. We actually has built this REST API. Let's take a look at the REST API code. Okay, so we actually has create REST controller. So in the REST controller we have dashboard REST controller, right? So here you can see this is the REST controller, and API slash dashboard is endpoints, and we have used the product repository, the user repository, and product type repository, and this is a method for the stats. So we have used hash map, string, and then object, right? A string is a as you can see, a string is the name of particular on object, and whatever the object is, either its values multiple type of an array, or single type of array. This is value the single type of the array. So we used object, right? So we use the counts and everything, and then we have assigned to the particular hash map. And then for the Morris area, we use Morris area class. Okay, so you can see that this is a JSON auto detect annotation we used. It's a serializable, and then we have for properties y item 1 and item 2, and then we have a getter and setter accordingly. So we have used this Morris area, and then add, and finally we have added. So it will once you use this notation JSON auto detect, so it will be send the data as well as their name into the particular list of collection, and then this of the list collection we actually put into the hash map. So it will be give the result what you have seen in the API. So this is how we actually create the line and whatever the line attributes, so donut and line and everything. So this API is a GET API, and once you click on this, you can see their details as well. So this is how, and these are the classes we actually has created. So this is how you can render the page with the REST API. as you can see, this is a donut, this is an area, and these are product type and registration, and we have some charts, and we have some other information. So this is the main thing. And then if you can see, this is REST controller, okay. And then we can see that in the dashboard, uh, we have discussed, this is the dashboard file. So we have used everything inside the content page, right? And this is a layout fragment content, okay. So in the auth section, we have created a login page. This is a login page. There is no such need to include the layout because it's a standalone page. So you can see that we have username, password, and register new number. And in the registration page, we have similar kind of things. And in the application property file, spring.datasource.url, okay, JDBC, MySQL, and this is my database name, Java Web Test, and use SSL is equal to false. Because this file, you can create whatever the file database name. So once you use, you can be able to change accordingly. And then we have username and then password, and we have Spring property Hibernate elect, and we used Hibernate auto create. This is the property we used because if you have some tables once, for example, the user table and another table, so you can be able to, it will be updated accordingly. So we use some logging level for Hibernate SQLs, and whatever the SQLs is been running, so we can be able to trace and debug accordingly. And the database side, you can see this is my database. So we have a product detail, role, user, and user role. These three tables you don't need to be create. Spring, or once you run the Spring security file, so it will be create this role accordingly. So these tables accordingly, and you can see in the role section we have created admin, and we have a user table. So we have some two users and user roles. So whatever the user has, so it will be assigned to the role. So once you click the new user, it will be created accordingly, right? And role automatically set up. So we actually has created a file, setup data, right? So this is a component, and it's action listener context refresh event. So context, once the context has refreshed initially, uh, we need this file we have created for the creation of role, because first time it will be run if the role is not exist, so it will be created accordingly. So find the role by the name, and then if role is not exist, then create accordingly, and whatever the role is. So you can be add more roles in the startup file, so you can use this file, okay. So and this is the main file, Spring Boot application, right? And we have some other files. uh, and the rest we already has discussed. The repository file, so we have created a repository. So um, this is by the way, we actually has created this method for the paging of server side, but later we have removed. But you can use this file for searching criteria with different parameter, and paged data. So if you can see the product type repositories, we have created our own interface with the JPA repository with the product type, and then we used uh, this file. This is the file, this is a repository file, and this is a service basically, and it is a transactional service, okay. And we use the product repository, whatever the repository is, and then we have created some basic function, the find all, the save, the get and delete, etc. So we have product type, and we have I user service. I user service basically is used for the user custom user service. Okay, so in this service we actually have used user detail service. So user detail service is a basically Spring security core user details class. So whatever the functionality you want to use, for example, we use the save user in the registration section. We actually use the save functionality and find by username. So we have created we have used this method. So in the service implementation file, we use the implement this user service, and this is we used a user repository. Okay, so user repository is user repository basically is a user, and we have a table of user. So this is the repository, right? So user service implementation, we use decrypt password encoding, so you can see the password is in the encrypted form, right? So the save method, we once you click on registration save, like for example logout, and we have registration to the new member. So you can see register method. In this page register, so you can see there is a form register. We use this object, and then we use the same method. So in the login page we have registration method. Okay, this is a post mapping. We used user service dot find username if user, maybe user exists already, so then it will be, check. If user not exists, then it will be create error. So this is you can do that, and then we use user service dot save method. This is the same method we were discussing about, and we created a new user and then repositories find user. So DTO actually is basically an object created for username password and then getting these values, and then assign a particular role to the registered user. Okay, and if a user load user by username, uh, invalid username password. So load user by username is checked by the user by username. If the user is doesn't exist, then it will be shown the error, right? And this is a method for the map role to authorities. So let me create new user. For example, we used the same username with different password. Okay, so this is already a user registered with the username and password provided. So we actually are checking accordingly. So um similarly, we if we use the user and different with the password, so invalid username and password. This is kind of the validation is already been implemented. So in the user service, we use this type of the method, and then finally, once you log into the successful user, so it will be redirect to the particular dashboard. And then we need to discuss the product. Okay, this is a page. As you can see, we actually has rendered this page. Sorting is available, searching is available, and everything is available. So we actually use for example, this in this page we have product. So we have product list of the product. Okay, we use the same layout, and then we have section for the product list. So you can see there is a product list, and we use the content area. In content area we have everything, and then we have a block section where we actually has used the data table and the name of the data table, and then we allow the paging, the length, the searching, the ordering, and everything. And then we use some classes for the css, search for the css. So this is how you can do that in the script section. And in the raw section we actually has product list, so you can see the product list, add button, search, and then grid. Okay, so we have a plus button, add button, and we have success message. If the user has successful in the parameter, then you can display accordingly, and then if you delete it, then different message. And this is our table name, and these are our field, and these are list of the product which has been rendered through the Thymeleaf. So list of the products, their name, and for each, and then uh, as you can see, there is a data is coming from the different of the table. So we have different technique use for each product types. Okay, and then we check the product type dot id is equal to product dot id, and if the match, then text to the name of the product type. And then we have different, so you can be able to use the different technique while rendering to the data. So we have an edit button, we have delete button, and everything. And finally, you can see that the data is being nicely handled through the data table. So this is how the page has implemented. Once you click on edit, so it will be go to the edit, and then we have an id. Okay, so you can see that in the added URL, there is edit and then product ID. Okay, then we have another the page which is add edit page. So it's a product detail page, similar are the content, so you can see the product detail, everything. And we have displayed this value. So we used uh, this is our form method. Okay, we use the product ID. You can use the hidden field as well. And this is a select file, and you can use the for each the product types and the values and product name. And for the validation we use has error, because sometimes user clicks on, and then the data will be displayed accordingly. For example, if you can select and then press, so select the product type. So this is a select the product. So the validation is coming from if you go to the model file, and then we have a product, and we have a select product type. So not null, for the integer values we use the not null, and for the name we use not empty. So you can use whatever the validations you want to use that. And these are validations coming from validation constraint file. And in the pom.xml we used Spring security file, Spring Boot security validations. There are some other validation you can use, but different type of validation require different type of form file. So if you want to use the proper validations, so you can use this file. Okay, this is a product page, and then you can see that once you click on save, the data is being displayed through the Thymeleaf, and then press the save. So once you click onto the save, the request goes to the product controller. Okay, in the product controller we have add method, we have edit method, save method, delete method, list method. So in the same method, we used uh, this attribute, and then product file, and then finally we have save method. So if has some error, then it will be displayed accordingly. So we use the add validate, and model attribute is a product, because we actually has set the model product type of model. And then this is how you can do that, right? And then finally it has redirected to the particular page with the success parameter. Okay, and then delete for similarly the delete, and similarly for the list page. So this is the controller. So whatever the new object you want to create, so you can use that. Request mapping is equal to slash product, so you can see that slash product, everything will be inside the product. So we use the controller, we use the controller, we use the model, this different type of the model. This is entities, and these are the tables name, whatever because the table name can be different, the column name can be different of your entity, so you can use a column attribute. We have role table, we have user role table, and we have created relationship between the role and user, because one user can have multiple roles, so you can set user role table, so you can join the table, so you can use this table. So we have discussed everything in the service page. We use some create some services um, for the product communication. So this we use the repository, we use AutoWire and everything. So you find paginated list all, it will be displayed the all, but find paginated is a method where you can be able to get the data through the pagination style. So you can use this method as well. Okay. Okay, so I think, and this is a DTO page. DTO page is a user registration page where we actually are asking these values. So we have created separate DTO for this, and on the registration page, we used this. If you can see the registration page, we use the user registration. So you can use this product for your uh, so if you are building the application through this technology, so this is a very good the project for the startup. So you can use this template, and then you just need to be add your model, whatever the table you want to use. You want to create your controller, and then you have repositories and the service. These are four things you need to add, and then add the links into your layout files, and fragmentation section mean sidebar, and then you can be able to add accordingly. So this is how you can do that. The source code is available, in the description box you can see the source codes. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, so we actually have discussed everything, the product card and login and logout, uh, registration. So the logout, for example, if you are logout, so you can see that you have successfully logged out. And the registration, we actually use some registration technique. So if you have any questions, thank you for your time. Please subscribe my channel. If you have any questions, then please do let me know. Thank you very much.